Two former champions have retired from in-ring action, and two major debuts are set for next week's AEW Dynamite. But first, a huge AEW Championship match has been confirmed. Last night on AEW Dynamite, it would be announced that CM Punk is next in line for the AEW World Championship, with him set to challenge Hangman Page at the upcoming Double or Nothing pay-per-view next month. Following his debut in AEW last August, Punk has lost just one of his 18 matches, currently holding a 2022 record of 8-1. The announcement comes after weeks of Punk teasing an AEW title match, and his calls have finally been answered. The news was broken after the opening match between Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler in the Owen Hart tournament, a match which Punk called on commentary. He then made his way to ringside when the ring was clear, stating that while he's not a gambling man, he always bets on himself. His upcoming opponent, Hangman Page, wasn't in attendance at the show, with him testing positive for the virus earlier this week, but hopefully we'll see him back for next week's show as we get closer to the pay-per-view. Double or Nothing will go down on May 29th from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, and could we be set to see the end of Hangman Page's reign as AEW World Champion, or will he in fact overcome the challenge of CM Punk? Let me know your prediction in the comments down below. And speaking of last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, let's go to the latest from the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. As mentioned earlier, the show would start with a bout between both members of the FTR tag team, as Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood would fight each other for the first time. The match was an excellent display of technical wrestling and had an interesting dynamic, with both men showing respect for one another throughout. In the end, Dax would manage to reverse a cradle pin to secure a pin of his own, picking up the 1-2-3 to qualify for the first round of the Cup. The next two qualifying round matches were later announced, with AEW original Darby Allin set to battle newcomer Swerve Strickland, with both men going way back on the independent circuit. The match would be taped last night but will air on Friday's episode of AEW Rampage. As well as this, the third Undisputed Elite member will attempt to qualify for the tournament, with him looking to join Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly in the first round. Bobby Fish looks set to take on Jeff Hardy, with Cole declaring that one of the members of the group will reign supreme in the tournament. This one will go down on next week's episode of AEW Dynamite as we draw closer to the first round bracket being filled. So far, Samoa Joe, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole and Dax Harwood make up the 4 of the 8 spots in the men's bracket, whilst Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter, Hikaru Shida, Red Velvet, Ruby Soho and Britt Baker have all qualified for the women's side of things. Now let's go to our next story from last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, as a former champion made his long-awaited return. The show would feature a segment involving the House of Black, who were set to expose the face of the masked luchador Fuego del Sol, before being interrupted by the voice of Alex Abrahantes, the manager of the Death Triangle. Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews and Brody King would then storm to the ring to confront the Hooded Man, before Penta Oscuro made his way to the ramp to get their attention. He would then be joined by Pac and eventually Alex Abrahantes, leading everyone to wonder who the hooded figure was in the ring. The man would then reveal himself to be the returning Rey Fenix, catching the House of Black off guard. The ring would then be cleared by the Death Triangle, with the trio standing tall. This is the first time Fenix has been seen in an AEW ring since the Lucha Brothers lost their AEW World Tag titles to the Jurassic Express in January, with him suffering an arm injury when he was chokeslammed from the apron through a table. He would then be ruled out for several months up until last night. The odds have now been evened in the feud between the House of Black and the Death Triangle, with this potentially setting up a showdown at the upcoming Double or Nothing pay-per-view. And next up, a new champion has been crowned in All Elite Wrestling. AEW Dynamite last night would be main evented by a match for the TNT Championship, with champion Sammy Guevara putting his belt on the line against American Top Team's Scorpio Sky in a ladder match. After what can only be described as a dangerous match, more specifically from Sammy's point of view, Sky would manage to walk away as champion after grabbing the belt from high above the ring. This ends Guevara's third reign with the belt, which lasted a mere 12 days. Scorpio would initially lose the title to Sami at the Battle of the Belts show, which aired on April 16th, and has won it back at the first time of asking. It seems that Sky's first challenger will be his former tag team partner Frankie Kazarian, who was promised a title shot should he win the belt back. Kazarian seemingly took up the offer after the match, walking to the ring to congratulate his former friends. No date has been announced for the match at this point, but stay tuned for any news breaking. Next up, could the stars of All Elite Wrestling be heading to Japan? On Sunday, June 26th, AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling will host the first ever joint event between the two from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. The announcement of the Forbidden Door event has led many to wonder if the show could be followed by a sequel, this time from the land of the rising sun. Well, this week, New Japan president Takami Obari would speak with Sports Illustrated, where he would discuss the idea and would note that it could happen if the Japanese fans are invested in the event, and he would say, "Traveling between Japan and the US is no longer a significant problem. If Japanese fans are invested in this event and the demand is there, then there will absolutely be impetus for us to take the next step of holding an event in Japan." NJPW and AEW will open the Forbidden Door together this June, but what lies on the other side is something we will all have to wait and find out. One guarantee, I always say that NJPW's wrestlers can carry the pride and the fight of wild lions. Whomever they fight against, whomever they even team with, they will carry a fighting spirit that is unmatched and unbeatable. Ever since Obari took over the presidency of New Japan, he has made tremendous effort to grow their relationship with All Elite Wrestling, even turning down proposals from Nick Khan to work with WWE going forward. Obari would also oversee the launch of NJPW's American brand Strong as the promotion continues to break into the US market. Let's hope that the Japanese fan base get behind the idea so we can see a second leg across the Pacific Ocean. Next up, let's go to some Impact Wrestling news as two former champions have retired. Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay, who make up the Inspiration tag team, have announced that they are set to walk away from wrestling to pursue outside ventures. The former Iconics would release a joint statement with Impact, thanking the promotion for their experience, and they said, "We first want to thank Scott D'Amore and the entire Impact family. We had such an amazing experience working with the incredible Impact staff and roster. We will cherish these Impact memories forever. We are excited to start a new chapter in our lives and explore other opportunities that may come our way." Impact president Scott D'Amore would then praise the former Knockouts tag team champions for their recent work and said, "The Inspiration have been a great part of Impact's Knockouts roster and wonderful to work with. Cassie and Jessie are incredibly talented performers. Everyone at Impact wishes them every success in the future." The Iconics would be released from WWE in July 2021 before signing with Impact in October of that year, rebranding themselves as The Inspiration. They are former WWE Women's Tag Team and Impact Knockouts Tag Team champions and retire after a combined 26 years in the business. What their future holds is currently unclear, but we wish them the best in whatever they choose to do next. And finally, two major debuts are set for next week's AEW Dynamite. It was confirmed on last night's episode that Impact Wrestling star Deonna Purrazzo is set to make her All Elite Wrestling debut when she takes on Mercedes Martinez in singles action. Deonna is the reigning Ring of Honor Women's Champion, and Martinez being the interim champion, a title she would win at the Supercard of Honor show earlier this month. Deonna was unable to make the show due to prior commitments, leading to an interim champion being crowned, with the undisputed champion set to be named next week. On top of this, another top Impact Wrestling star looks set to make his AEW debut, with MJF teasing the arrival of the 7-foot-tall W. Morrissey, formerly known as Big Cass in WWE. After Wardlow overcame MJF's latest test in the form of Lance Archer, he would cut a backstage promo addressing the quote, "Pig Wardlow," and he would say, "The reason I'm calm is because I've got a plan, and it's a damn good one." MJF would then make a phone call offering 6 figures to Wardlow's next opponent before teasing the arrival of Morrissey, and he added, "Wardlow, next week you're going up against a man who is smarter than you, stronger than you, and who is taller than you, and you can't teach that." This of course is a reference to Morrissey's run in the Enzo and Cass tag team, with Enzo Amore introducing his tag partner as 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. Since his WWE release in June 2018, Morrissey has overcame battles with depression, anxiety, and an alcohol addiction before transforming his look, going on to become one of the top names in Impact Wrestling under his new ring name. It should be noted that Morrissey has been working on a per appearance basis with Impact and is technically a free agent. It's currently unknown if next week's appearance will be a one-off or if AEW plan on bringing him in on a more regular basis, but we'll keep you updated should any further news break. And before you go, make sure you check out the 12 most obscure WWE appearances from AEW wrestlers.